Now, I was going to say you and I somehow always match literally on brand, on theme. Like we kind of have the same little vibe going, the
Mm-hmm.
milkmaid life.
Oh, milkmaid life, you're right.
Isn't that what that is?
Yeah, because we don't coordinate ever. And yet we both show up episode 1, our little shoulders are out, we got a sweater situation. 2, we're both wearing like little tank tops. This, it's like giving milkmaid.
It's giving milkmaid, but I live for it.
You know what it is? It's because we got a little action in the book.
Girl, 100. You know what the funniest thing is? Yesterday, I kept texting you. I'm like, did you read chapter 27 yet? And you're like, girl, no, but I just read chapter 26. You literally sent me a selfie with a hand over your mouth, gasping, shooketh. And I'm like, but did you read chapter 27? And today, when I go over my notes, I'm like, I meant chapter 26 because chapter 27 was like 2 pages long. It was just filler.
100%. It was very, very quick. Not mad about it, but very quick. But it was chapter 25 for me.
The one that, oh my God. Well, I feel like we have so much to talk about. So much happened, so much payoff that I felt I really needed. And this was probably like my most favorite sit down and read of the book. I don't know if you agree, but I just...
I absolutely agree. This was and not just because it was the shortest.
I texted you, I go, girl, like I zoomed through this one.
So fast. I know, so fast. I'll do this thing, I don't know if you do this, but like when the payoff happens, I'll reread it like a few times. Just to feel something.
I mean, yes. And I go back and I reread chapters if I really like them. I'm like,
me too.
I don't want to miss.
Good, so I'm not the only crazy one that does that.
No,
Perfect.
we love it. We love it. I'm so excited. So we've got so much to dive into, and I just can't wait.
Hi guys, welcome to A Novel Bunch. Don't forget to like and subscribe and put some comments there so we can read them and respond when our shows come out. And we're so excited to have you here.
Yay! Killed it. I give you a 10 out of 10. And then, guys, this episode, we are reviewing chapters 19 through 27.
I have a really hard time finishing books because I get excited and I start a new one. I don't have the hardest time finishing like books like this because but I'm also, I try to feed my brain like, the life of a cell, that's one of the science books I'm reading, and then I try and feed myself something fun like this. This is a lot easier to finish than this, but I'm really proud of us.
Girl, I've been having such a good time sitting and reading this. And I know for us, we like to read it. We've said it kind of the day or two before. And I like to just sit down and in one sitting, I just speed through it. And and it's so hard to stop, but it's okay. I'm trying to follow the rules of the book club.
Bitch, I had such a hard time. So I was like, don't you do it, Molly, but I wanted to so bad.
So badly. And then what's fun is Molly and I are going to come up with a couple book choices for next month, and we'll go on social media, so make sure you guys are following us there at A Novel Bunch Podcast on Instagram, TikTok. We'll do a little votey vote poll and see what kind of stuff you guys are into reading. Now, of course, I know we love our romance, but I don't know if anyone or Molly, if you're trying to ever mess with autobiographies. I just love them. I love
I
juice.
love an autobiography.
Right?
My dad was joking. Mark Twain has a new one that comes out. It's like 120,000 pages.
Stop.
And he's like, I've got a new book for you. So I was like, no.
You're like, well, I like Jessica Simpson's open book, but yeah, that's the kind of autobiography I'm reading.
Love it. I love it. God bless.
There's a new one I think it just came out. Do you know who Derek Whibley is from Sum 41? The band?
Is he the guy with the one that was married to Avril Lavigne?
Lavigne, yeah.
Okay, that's the only way I know.
A crazy one coming out. And I'm like, I need to read that. Because I like the dirt. I like the juice. I want the stories behind the scenes that come up, what happened. And that's what those books feed me. So it's giving, I'm into it, whether you like it or not.
Love it. We love a little tea.
We love some tea. And speaking of tea, why don't we jump in?
Great.
Chapter 19.
What a segue. What a segue.
And it's so funny because you and I both did notes, and I didn't even get a chance to go through them. So let's just
Here
hop
we
in.
go. Great. We're going to start with chapter 19, right? 6 summers ago, we're in Vail, Colorado. Shout out my home state. Love Colorado more than anything. Very excited to read about it a little bit, but we didn't get
Third podcast, guys.
a whole bunch of like explanation of Vail, right? Just a lot of generic mountain scenes. We had a little injury. He had to carry her down a mountain. Poppy said it's 5 to 15-ish% now, but Alex is with Sarah Torval.
I don't really want to speak of her yet because Sarah Torval really pisses me off.
Me too. And this poor girl who's like living this totally normal, like very sweet. I'm sure she's fine. And I hate her.
I don't care for her, and the fact that she will not follow Poppy back on social media, and Poppy took it. She took the reins and goes, I'm going to unfollow her in case she never saw that I followed her.
Have you ever done that?
And refollow? I'm sure I have, because when I read that, I go, this is brilliant. Like, I feel like this is
I've
something I
never
should
thought
do.
to unfollow and refollow, but now that I think about it, I've seen some unfollows and refollow. It's like a.
It kind of
Remember
makes,
how Facebook used to have a poke? It was so weird.
I
It's
think
like,
they still do.
Stop it!
Why are you doing that to me?
Stop hugging me! I hate it! I hate it!
Well, and then also too in this chapter, we find out that Poppy and Guillermo, they broke up, and she moved in with him, and 6 weeks later he dumps her for a hostess. So this
In New York City, by the way. And can I tell you, somebody that got to live there and plans on living there again. How rude to have somebody move in with you in this economy, in those prices, and take all your furniture and throw it away because you have the better furniture and then dip on her in 6 weeks? Are you kidding me? I hate Guillermo more than Sarah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was so shady. Like, he really did her so wrong with that. And so here she is, and she's trying to find a new place. And right before they broke up, she brought him home to meet her family. And she hated that she felt like a little embarrassed, a little uncomfortable. Because she's like, these are the people who like made me. I love them. I love the chaos. I love it all. But she knew him, and she felt like he was going to judge. And so when they were there the very first night, after he met the family, he's like, yeah, I see why you are how you are now. And I was like, excuse me?
Excuse you? What? Although I know when guys have met my dad and brother, they have the same thought of like, I know why you are the way you are.
That's fucking fabulous why you are the way you are. And that's all I'll say about that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's talk meeting the family. How was
Yes.
Freddie with your family? How are you with Freddie's family?
God, it was so long ago, which is so crazy. And you know, oddly enough, my dad and Freddie were talking about this. I think it might have been Mother's Day weekend. And he was like, yeah, I remember, Rick, meeting you at the Villages, which is this retirement community in Florida where my grandparents used to live. And so it must have been a holiday like Thanksgiving, and we all flew in and everyone was there. And, you know, that's a big deal to meet
Love.
someone's parents or, you know,
Yeah.
parent. And it went really well. Everyone really got along. And then when I went to Ashtabula, I mean, I had never been to a small town ever. Like,
And Ashtabula is
it's
a small town.
tiny. I went in my graduating class, we had 1,000 students. You know, I was
Yeah.
just always around a lot of people. So
Yeah.
the change of pace of life was so refreshing because it was slow. I had never done that. But immediately, everyone I met in his family got along so great. And then I had met his cousins in LA prior. So I kind of knew everyone, and it was just like, it went really well. But you know, it was totally different than what I
Yeah.
expected. What goes through your head when you're meeting a significant other's family? How do you take it? How do you handle that?
You know, I just try and be myself. I'm a little weird, but I'm good at meeting parents and family because I care about everything, and so you'll see that right away. And if I'm meeting your son, your brother, your whatever, or, I'm sorry, if I'm dating your son, your brother, whoever it is, like I obviously care about them very much, so I will emulate that in our conversation. I've always had a pretty good time. There's one I can think of that was rough, but that was
I think you told me.
the parent, not the not the meeting, but I also I have a little thing that I do, which is not a thing that I do, but because my dad and brother and I are so close, I love them. They're my best friends. I love them so much. I tend to introduce them earlier than later because I want to see if everybody gets along. And I know a lot of people don't subscribe to that. A lot of people wait and you have to like earn meeting the family, which I love that too. But for me, they're such an important part of my life that it's also kind of hard not to meet them because I talk to them so often.
Yeah.
You're gonna at least FaceTime them pretty quickly.
Oh, do you introduce through FaceTime?
Sometime, I mean,
Yeah.
dad lives in Colorado, I'm in LA, so it's like, and I
Yeah.
FaceTime him.
No,
My poor father, I FaceTime him
Dad, it's
multiple
me
times a
again.
day.
It's me again, Molly.
Literally- That's literally, and I've done this horrible thing. It kills him because he doesn't always have his cell phone around him, right? Because boomer.
Hmm.
And so it'll be charging, it'll be in another room or whatever. And I've learned that if I call the landline, if he's watching like CNN or ESPN or something, my name will pop up on on the TV because it's connected. It says call from Molly Burnett. So I know that if I'm trying to get a hold of him, I can call the landline and then without fail, 15 seconds later, I get a begrudging FaceTime. And I never do voice calls. I love a FaceTime. I'm sorry. I know it's frustrating. I know people
Interesting.
love phone call. I love a FaceTime. I want to talk to your face. I want to interact. Like that's just how I am. I will always, always, always FaceTime. So, you know,
No, I love that. And I also love too kind of ripping that band-aid off early. And especially as we grow older, it's like, let's see if you vibe with the most important people in my life. Because if you don't, this is not going to work.
right.
I would
Like it
assume,
did with Guillermo.
like it did with Guillermo.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then a few days after they got back to New York from this trip that wasn't that great, she was at his friend's house who was like a trust fund kid. He had a brownstone. So funny. I thought of you. Molly and I want to live in a brownstone one day. Big goals. Big goals.
We're going to live in a
But
brownstone one
thank
day.
you. Oh, next to each other, just so you guys know. Package deal.
Perfect. And my brownstone, like, walk down, like the stoop, is gonna be covered in those flower Legos, like that one you sent me.
Stop. That's perfect. So they're at his Guillermo's friends, and I guess they said, I don't want to mess this up. There was a painting in the room. It was a Damien Hirst painting, and it was
Mm.
hanging in the dining room. And someone said that name, and she had no idea it had to do with the painting. And she goes, "Who?" And they all started laughing at her. And literally the next day they broke up, and he said, "We're just too different. We got swept up in our chemistry, but long term, we want different things."
Like, I'm sorry, I didn't know Damien Hirst. Like, you fucking weirdo. Like, let's be sympathetic to, like, if it was like a Da Vinci,
Even still, I
but
mean,
I couldn't point out, I
no,
couldn't.
no,
If you put a whole bunch of Da Vincis up, I
I'm
can't
not gonna
guarantee
know.
that I would know. Yeah,
Yes, yes,
just relax on the condescending, whatever. But he needs, you know who he needs? He needs Sarah Torval.
perfect. They'd be the perfect match. I
Right.
don't think that's going to happen though in this book. But I was curious because we were kind of talking about these different worlds. Have you ever dated someone from a different world than yours? And if so, was that hard? Was it difficult? Was it fun, intriguing, or maybe you haven't?
Yes, yeah. I've dated all different kinds of people and different worlds, and I love it because I'm so curious about it. Tell me everything. I want to know
Mm,
everything.
I love that.
Yeah. So I'm big subscribed to different,
I love
because if
that.
you date yourself or like the you version, that's fine. But that's what I kind of think that Alex and Sarah are doing is they're kind of the same person, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, there is a very opposites attract thing that
Hmm.
I think helps in relationships, and so I subscribe.
Subscribe to it,
I
baby.
subscribe to that.
But how cool, though, to be able to date someone completely different than you and get a peek into that world, no matter what that world is. But just how interesting, how fun, what a new
Yeah.
adventure, essentially. Because how
Yeah.
else are you going to learn about everything? I
Yeah.
love that kind of stuff. I think that would be
Me
so
too.
fun. I
Me
don't think
too.
I've ever, I mean, I think Freddie's as far as I've gone, like small town.
I love that small town. Listen, there's this sweet our Alabama family, we call them, and my brother and I go down to visit, and we go see an Alabama game at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and Sherry, shout out Sherry, I love you so much, and Tammy, and they cook for us, and it's just like good old Southern fried green tomatoes, and it's just a slow moving, calm. It's like a rejuvenating, like you go, especially the
Yeah.
fast pace of LA or New York or New Orleans or wherever I'm at the time when we go visit. It's like just this nice deep breath of like, oh, this is a really beautiful way to live.
Yeah. The hospitality is just the
Unparalleled.
best.
I know.
The
I know.
best. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of hospitality, Sarah Torval, she came in this chapter and they were
Uh-huh.
saying, entered the adorable, willowy, yet athletic, clean faced, brown eyeliner wearing Sarah
I knew you
Torval.
were gonna write that down. That's in my notes too. LOL brown eyeliner. Like that we know that type of person. We know that type of person. Sarah Torval and
And
her brown eyeliner.
yes, and Alex at this point, he had been dating her seriously for 9 months.
Which is
But
a pretty good amount of time.
yes, yes. And Poppy just continues to have this creeping suspicion that Sarah Torval hates her, which I'm sure
What
she probably does.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna side with Sarah on this one just because I know we love Poppy. Poppy's our girl, but like you are in love with your best friend and you travel internationally every year. And this is my
Things are
man
going
now.
well. Like, no, absolutely not.
Here's I would always be open to it, but I would want to kick it with Sarah and be like, tell me everything because I don't want to keep. Obviously, this is a long-standing tradition that you guys have created, and I respect that. And you've been in his life well before I joined, so but it makes me feel a little bit funky. So just ease my anxiety here.
I know that Alex, and we'll kind of get into this in the next chapters, but he has more of this private relationship with Sarah where
Yeah,
the phone calls are away from Poppy. And like you can start kind of seeing that Poppy and Alex, their relationship is changing because
yeah,
of the situation, which is natural. You know, when you have personal relationships, romantic relationships with someone
yeah.
else, they might side with that person a little bit more, want
Right.
a little privacy. That does happen. But at the end of this chapter, Alex admits Sarah's a little weird about their trip, understandably. And then Alex finds a tiny cat behind the dumpster.
Yeah, Flannery O'Connell. He
Flannery
starts sending
O'Connor.
pictures of this cute little cat to her all
Yes.
the time. But that's really the only way they communicate anymore, right? Is like he sends a picture of the cat. And it's like how it's a poke. It's a Facebook poke.
There you go. It's his cute little
Exactly.
way. Because they weren't really talking as much, maybe every 4 days. And all he really would text her is this cat.
Yeah.
So
That's
things are
hard.
kind of changing for them. But then we go into chapter 20, which is this summer.
Right. And we're back in the same bed. And Alex has a big boner
Morning wood.
when he wakes up.
Literally, when I read that, he handled it well, though, because
Like a champ.
he was just kind of like, this is
Nothing weird about it. Totally
human
normal. It's
nature.
what happens when you
Yeah.
wake up.
But I will say, when she first woke up, Alex is still sound asleep. And she goes, I'm on my right side facing him. He's on his
Right.
left side facing me. There's half a foot between us, except that my left leg is sprawled over him, my thigh hooked up against his hip, his hand resting high up on it. Just
I
friends.
love it. I love
Just
it.
friends.
Oh
Right?
yeah, but he's just the homie for sure. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
And she was saying, she's like, my body wants to remove itself, but my heart is like wanting to stay here and cuddle. And she's like, I don't know what to do.
yeah.
And she kept thinking about the night before when he was looking at her Tinder profile and he said, I would, literally like a dare. Like
Yeah.
and she's like, I don't know if it was the muscle relaxants that was making him say this
Girl.
stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
poor,
I've had to take muscle relaxants for my bunion.
as you
This
should.
is funny. I was running Queen of the South, and my character was like very high fashion, like very obsessed with heels. And I love shoes, right? But I can't wear them because I have terrible bunions. And so one night, I'm in like YSLs, some crazy, and I'm running around because my
Gosh.
character's getting chased because she always was. And at the end of the night, my foot like blew up. I was in so much, this is during the pandemic. I'm in so much pain and I have to go to urgent care. And they're like, well, it's a bone, but there's muscle around it. So let's try muscle relax, like try this. And I took one to hopefully, help with the inflammation and stuff. And all it did was make me a little sleepy. I was definitely not confessing my love to my bestie.
I don't think a muscle relaxant's gonna do that, Poppy, but keep telling yourself that, sweetie.
Right, right. But you like make excuses for all different kinds of things when you are overthinking. And she obviously overthinks everything that she does. I feel like by chapter 20, we realize that she's all in. She's in love with him. She's like, this whole trip was created so that I don't even think she knows what she wanted. But she set up this trip. They're at a wedding. I'm sure she thought about the fact that weddings are like a romantic time. Maybe something will happen. I don't know, but she's in love with him.
She's all in. And I'm dying to know his POV, but I know that we're not going to get that.
I'm so frustrated. Our next book, we have to have 2 POVs, I wrote in my notes, because I want to be able to talk about both sides.
I feel like people like us, we just need to know because we want to know it all. We're curious. I'm like, I need both sides.
Yes. I
Immediately.
just want to know what Alex is thinking, because right now all I think is that Poppy's obsessed with him and he's like, eh. But then when we get further along, it's like, oh, that wasn't the case at all.
There's a lot of stuff that he ends up saying that we go,
I loved it so much.
It was mutual. I had a quote of the week written down and I'm curious. I feel like you chose this. You might have. I don't know. Let's see how well I know you. And if it's not, then I guess not very well. The quote of the week. At least it's not just our apartment that feels like Satan's anal glands.
Okay. I would have, except all my quotes have been about butt stuff.
That's why I chose it.
I was like, I can't do a 3rd episode where it's some kind of be-all issue.
Okay. Well, when we get to yours, you let me know.
Honorable mention, though. Honorable mention. I also love that Poppy refers to Alex as a young, hot cat lady inside.
Yes. It's
adorable. I'm just
that.
trying to find my young, hot cat lady dude. You know what I mean? That's all I want.
He's out there.
That's all I want.
I feel that for you. And then, too, in this chapter, she had mentioned to him, oh, yeah, remember when we went to the cemetery tour guide in New Orleans? And he goes, huh? And he didn't really remember. And this kind of brought me back to last time when she brought up an inside joke you had said, and he didn't really remember that either because she wants him to remember so bad. But he doesn't. And maybe that's just, some of us, we remember certain things. And isn't it interesting how some memories, we kind of have talked about this before, they'll really stick out and mean something to you, and other people, it doesn't stick. And maybe it didn't hit that piece in their heart or their head or whatever that made them want to remember. But
either that or he's pretending like he doesn't remember.
Is he playing
Which
games?
I don't think is the case. I just think he genuinely doesn't remember.
Alex, you playing games, boy? Are you playing games? He might be.
He might be.
But yeah, at the end of the chapter, she takes him to the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens, and they decide to get milkshakes. And what do you know? What flavor did Alex get?
Okay, but can I just say I felt offended because I love a vanilla milkshake. I love vanilla ice cream. I love vanilla. It is an actual flavor and it's not boring. And I don't like chocolate flavored things, but I love chocolate, which is a very confusing thing. But it's in the same realm as I hate tomatoes, but I love ketchup.
While I do agree, vanilla is definitely a flavor, and I do love me some vanilla ice cream. The symbolism in this, I mean, you can't make it up because she was on his butt about it, going, that's so boring, blah, blah, blah. And then it made me think, in her head, was she thinking, why does he like vanilla? Like, I feel like she took it personally more so of why, because she's not vanilla. She's, flavorful, all these different types of ice creams probably mixed together, probably with fudge on top, that's just who she is. So do you think that she took that to heart? That's kind of how I perceived it, that she was like, why do you like vanilla? Because she is like, that's Sarah and that's not me, and it'll never be me.
Yeah, maybe. I think she's also just dogging him a little bit. She loves to just...
Am I reading too much into this?
No, never. She could totally be feeling that way about the vanilla milkshake choice, but I also think to her detriment a little bit, she pokes fun a little too much, which is also why we find out he doesn't like to talk to Sarah around her because she dogs him. It's that like the little boy that pulls your pigtail.
Hmm.
Poppy's the little boy pulling the pigtail. You know what I mean? Like,
Poppy would love to hear that. If she were a real
she'd be so
person.
mad. I'm sorry,
She'd be like,
Poppy.
what? So then we go into chapter 21, which was
Hmm.
6 summers ago.
Correct. So we're back in the 6 summers because in chapter 19, they said, here's where we're going to go. We didn't really get a whole lot about it. And then we're back at chapter 21. Sarah's okay with the trip now.
Weird.
Okay. Okay.
And then Poppy didn't ask either. She wasn't like, well, what happened? Because I'm getting the sense too that they're not really having that
They don't talk about
relationship.
Sarah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
not at all. And
Yeah.
that's just kind of off the table. So she wouldn't
Hmm.
dare ask. But yeah, Sarah was
Totally
okay.
normal for two friends, by the way. Really normal. Totally normal to not talk about your partners.
Some
Cool.
things wrong here.
Something is not correct.
So they end up going to Vale, just the two of them. And there's this moment they had in the beginning where it was really chilly out, and she pulled up her hoodie and like kind of tightened and put her knees up like against inside. I'm probably
Hmm.
describing that terribly. But he leans over and he keeps like playing with her hood and he goes, "Cutie."
I know.
It's like, what? But then Poppy goes, yeah, he might have said it a little brotherly. And I'm like, does your
I can
brother?
tell you one thing my brother does not call me.
I was gonna
Cutie.
ask.
Weird.
Does he
Weird.
does he tug at your hoodie and go,
Weird. Weird.
"Cutie"?
Absolutely not. I don't even have a guy friends that like they're obviously very touchy-feely. Sarah Torval is steaming somewhere right now.
Mhm.
Um uh uh, Poppy says, which I figured you would love this line. She goes, "There aren't words vast or special enough to capture the ecstasy and the ache and love and fear I feel just looking at him now."
Oh,
So we're in it. Now I'm mad for Sarah. Just devil's advocate. Now I'm annoyed for Sarah because she's in a relationship with this guy and Poppy is just
and
in
that's
love.
exactly why she didn't want them going in the first place. Exactly why she didn't follow Poppy back.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
makes, she's like, I don't like this girl. Like, I see you. I see what you're trying to do. And here we
Because
are.
also, yeah, Poppy in typical going to Colorado fashion, they're on a hike and she falls, twists her ankle, and he carries her. So my line of the week was Alex Nilsson sweeps me up into his arms and carries me down a motherfucking mountain.
Yes, Alex Nelson, do it, do it, do it. He really is her little knight in shining armor, and it forced that close proximity, of just
Yeah.
like I love too, and she did this, the author as well, in stories where the just friends are sharing a bed together, or just forced to be into close proximity, which is her being in his arms. I mean, that how much closer can you get, right? I mean, we'll find out.
Turns out pretty close.
That part absolutely just in the best way slayed my heart. I loved it so much. And then when they were on this trip, Poppy has this epiphany and she's like, oh yeah, remember Lita, our friend that we met a bunch of summers ago
Buck.
with Buck? And so she texts Buck and she literally was basically saying, hey, do you have Lita's number? I know it's been a long time, whatever. And Buck writes back and goes, damn, girl, is this sexy little Poppy? Took you long enough to use those digits. Guess I shouldn't have kicked you out of my room.
Oh my God. Buck.
And Alex leans over the table to read the message upside down and rolls his eyes. Yeah, you fucking think, pal, he says. But I kind of love this moment because I feel like it's a little sign that Alex is a little jealous,
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, don't.
Also, I love for Poppy that Alex saw somebody else call her hot.
Me too. Like, I love that
Okay.
part. I was like,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
And he knows Buck too. He remembers the whole thing. So
Yeah.
he
He
was just
had his own little thing with Daisy, but it
Daisy.
wasn't quite the same.
No, not quite. So then they reach out to Lita and they go rafting, and she's like 4 months pregnant, and they're like, "Are you sure this is okay?"
That's Colorado though, baby. They just, you
just down with it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Down to red.
Well, and I felt this was really interesting and I wanted to know your thoughts. Lita had said, makes me so happy every time you find out how small the world is, you know, like we were in that place at the same time and now here we are at different points in our lives, but still connected like quantum entanglement or some shit.
Mm.
And for anyone who doesn't know quantum entanglement, essentially it's the phenomenon in quantum physics where two or more particles become linked in such a way that the state of one instantly affects the state of the other, no matter how far apart they are.
So sorry, we have a missing endangered adult? Not during the quantum physics definition. Come on. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. And I was curious, though, with that, do you believe in quantum entanglement, kismet, the red string theory, all of that? I mean, it's different because one is quantum physics and the other is more fate, destiny, all that kind of stuff. But
Well, or is it just the same way of are these two, is fate and quantum, because a quantum entanglement is we have no way of explaining how that happened or why that happened, right? It's like a blanket term that the scientific community came up with to say like the string theory, this makes sense, this black hole, there's a bunch of quantum entanglements happening in there, we're just going to call it that because we have no idea why it's happening. Isn't that fate? Isn't that kismet? Isn't that the universe at play? Like something happens that you can't explain. That is a quantum entanglement. So when I talk to my dad about this, I say fate, I say universe, I say good energy, and he says the scientific word, he says quantum entanglement. So I absolutely believe in that. I just think it's the same side or different sides of the same coin.
oh, I love that. 100%. Oh God, there we go with the 100%. Guys,
No!
this is my word I like to say on the podcast. And maybe I noticed because I edit it, but I like to say 100%. So if you hear me saying it, know that I'm cringing inside somewhere.
Give her a Facebook poke. Give her a Facebook poke anytime you hear 100%. I don't think you've said it once though. And I don't think I said caveat. Those are our two words.
Those are
two
words.
things.
Don't look out for them.
Yeah. Now that we put them on.
100%.
We're going to bop into chapter 22 back to this summer. They are having about as bad of a day as you can, right? The heat is insane. Like Saturday for us in LA at 104 in the valley. They went to that weird dinosaur museum, which does exist. It's for people. I believe it got turned into dinosaur deniers.
Stop it. Stop it.
And they're in like the tail of a dinosaur that apparently doesn't exist. It's hot. It's disgusting. They get a flat tire. They have to, like, it's one awful thing after the other. Alex's back still hurts. He and Poppy are at odds. Like, she tried to take him to the museum. They didn't get to feed the giraffes. It was just like a whole crazy big thing, right? And so they finally, on their way home, Alex is like, can we please just, she tried to plan all these things, make it such an amazing day. I don't know why. I think she's trying to be like, look, see, we can still have fun. But that's covering the reality, and that's that I'm so painfully in love with you, I can't see straight. So it's just this accumulation of terrible things that happen. And then they end back at the disgustingly hot apartment that they've Airbnb'd. It's 100 degrees.
Yes, and they get back there and he literally goes, I don't care what's going to happen. I have to go in the pool tonight. And I was like, oh, do you? And then the next chapter goes to
chapter 5 summers ago.
I know. And I was like, oh, really? Fine, I guess.
We know what
I'll
you're
read
doing,
this.
Emily.
Yeah, because I was really excited about that. It's like, oh, it's just going to be them. Even though that water's probably so hot.
And gross. Like, and I love a pool. My dad and brother and I, we love a pool. We're that asshole family. We bring a football and we'll just take over the pool, throw in the football. I almost got a concussion at the Cook Islands because Dad threw it and I almost, anyway.
It's so fun. You got to play some sports on vacay. It keeps just
of course, dude.
Rolling. It's good.
Yes, we're also children. We're just full-grown children, adults. Okay, chapter 23. 5 summers ago, we were in Florida. Have you ever been to Sanibel Island?
Of course I have. And so this is back where the story opened, right? Sanibel Island, which was so cool. But Sanibel Island, I used to go as a kid with my family all the time. It's the most beautiful, gorgeous little beach town. It's around the west coast of Florida. So those beaches, in my humble opinion, are the best in all Florida. The
Florida
waters,
beaches are stunning.
to die for. And it's just a little, like, little slice of heaven, you know? Have you ever been to Sanibel?
No, I haven't. The closest I've been is the Floribama Shore. So the finale of Queen of the South, we were supposed to film in, I don't know where, somewhere exotic, maybe South Africa, maybe back in, I'm blanking on the country that they filmed before, but because of the pandemic, they had to find something that was very close. And so we all drove to the Floribama Shore because it does look like it could be all the way down at the end of a little peninsula. Looks like it could be some hidden spot that no one would know about. So yeah, 5 summers ago, we are in the prologue. Same thing, where she slides up to him. She goes, "Hey, Tiger." We also find out that Sarah left him. Sarah Torval dumped Alex, and then left for like a yoga retreat because she said their relationship is too boring.
Poppy goes, "I'll show you boring. I'll key her car." It's like, girl.
Come on, Poppy. Come on, Poppy. Let's go.
And Poppy recalls a moment where the two of them ran from, there's literally a bar in Sanibel called Bar in the story anyway, that they were
Is
hanging
that real
out.
spot? Do we know?
I don't know. We'd have to check that out. I'd guess yes, because Emily Henry is on it with the details,
She's pretty on it, yeah.
right? But yeah, they are back at Bar and it's
Right.
raining out and they leave and they go into the car. And when they're in the car, Alex is like, "Let's take a selfie together." And so instead of doing it on 3, he does it on 2. They look a hot mess. It's blurry. It's just like a perfect photo, really, in
Yeah.
retrospect. And she's like, "Delete it." He goes, "No, never, never, never." And he gave her a look and she goes, "This is the moment that I first think it. I am so in love with you." I go, I am unwell. I can't. I can't.
Also, the picture with Alex taking the picture is the first kind of indication that we get that maybe he is in love with her too.
Absolutely. He wants to do that with her. He's not normally a big picture taker guy. And so, mind you, this is 5 summers ago. If you were Poppy in this situation where you're both freshly single, you're having these feelings, you're realizing right in that moment, "Oh my gosh, I'm in love with you, but I don't know how my best friend feels." How would you handle that? What do you think you would do?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Knowing me, I'd probably say something.
Mm-hmm.
If we're both if you're seeing somebody, I'm not gonna say anything. But if I'm in love with you, and we're both single, and we're I feel like I get drunk and accidentally say something.
Sorry, now you know. How could you not say something?
That's the only thing that has been a little bit hard to reconcile with this book is that no one ever said anything. But
Right.
that's not to say that that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And if she said something right away, there's the book.
Right?
There's the
We'd
book.
have no story.
Right. So I understand we need that.
Right, right, right. I just think that they fell in love maybe 4 years into their friendship. I think it maybe took them a little bit of time. I think they genuinely were like, "Oh, I just appreciate this person." And they were living their lives. And then they kept growing up and maybe dating more people and having experiences and going, "Well, wait a minute." This is the one thing I look forward to every single year, probably the best time of my life. And it's with
Yeah.
someone that maybe I'm in love with. And now we know she's in love with him.
Crazy in love with them. Crazy in love with
And
them.
I'm
She has been. They both have been. I think, there had to have been a modicum of attraction at the very beginning. Otherwise, they wouldn't have driven home together from college. Like, you don't just.
Get in the car and do that. But I
Or
also,
maybe you do and you just got lucky that he's hot. I don't know.
she's like, "Yeah, I'll go with you."
Yeah. She's like, let me think. Yes.
And I think for him, he was intrigued by her. He never went for a woman like Poppy. He always went very much for someone like Sarah. And I think everything he did in his life was just very practical, very reserved, very methodical, all the little things. So he maybe didn't know how to handle a Poppy. And I think that's why for an entire year at school, they never really spoke that first
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
because I think he
Yeah.
was just like, she's going to do her thing. Let me stay in my lane and do mine. And then I think he was intrigued. He knew it was her when he took her originally in the very beginning. And so maybe for him, it's been since the beginning. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think in 27 we confirm Well, okay, hold on.
We're almost there.
24, 25, 26, 27 were kind of like a fever dream that I read a
Yes.
few times. One,
Yes.
because they were like 3 pages each, but two, because now we're like it's the culmination of everything we've been waiting for, right? So 24 is this summer. The pool is empty. Some kid shit himself in the pool.
Code Brown.
They, they have to clean the pool. They have to drain it out. They see the couple that they had driven with from LAX,
The hubby and wifey.
newlyweds.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, they're so cute. But they're at the end of they're at wit's end, right? They go back up to the room. It's 100 degrees. The plastic sheath cover like suffocating them, keeping them stuck in this hellhole is Poppy goes nuts, she grabs scissors, she starts cutting it off, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And then they realize it's raining.
Hmm. Well, and before that happens, though, they get really upset with each other. It's so hot, and Poppy's screaming. They're getting so frustrated, and Alex wants to check into a hotel that night, and she's like, "That's not how it's supposed to go. We're supposed to keep doing and keeping things cheap and rolling with the punches." And he's like, "We've rolling with plenty of punches,
Yeah.
like if we don't go to a hotel, we're gonna go to a hospital, and that's gonna be even more expensive, like practical Alex thinking of all these things.
Of course, very Alex.
And so the tension is really built high, and you're like, oh gosh, we've really never seen them quite fight like this before.
Yeah.
And so Poppy gets all mad, and she's trying to get through that plastic thing to get outside, and it starts raining. Naturally, they both just completely shift, and they're like, oh, hallelujah, hallelujah. And they just sit in the rain, and they are so happy. And Alex proceeds to say, I'm sorry. And Poppy says she knows what he meant and that he was right. They can never go back, essentially. Because in the middle of their fight, he goes, we can't go back to how it was. And once they both cool down, he says, you're right. Like he was right that they can't go back. I was reading that and I was like, why? Because you both have feelings for each other?
Yeah.
Obviously. And then
Well, I think it's because they smashed in Croatia. It's tough to
funny
go back on
you
that.
say that. I don't think that they went all the way in Croatia.
Oh,
And like I was kind of gonna wait till we get there, but
okay.
I'll wait till we get
Interesting.
there.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah. But he asks if Poppy would really want to go back to how everything was, before, and she replies, I just want, I shrug. You, I think. You. Say it, Poppy. She doesn't. She says she doesn't want to lose him again, and he hugs her, and they get close. So close that she goes, even after sweating all day, he still smelled so good. And he says that she'll never lose him as long as she wants him there. And getting giggly. You know what's coming. His hand rises to sweep a damp curl out of her eyes, tucking it behind her ear. She then says, I always want you, Alex. Always. They're like magnets, slow, shaky, trying to draw closer to one another. And the chapter ends. Oh. She goes, then, and more loudly, this had to happen. This has to happen. This is happening. We're like, oh God, they're going in. They're going in. They're going in.
I know. And then, of course, she cuts to the next chapter, which thank God we got to keep going. Could you imagine if we stopped it? Like, we're reading through 24.
I might have passed over, to be quite frank.
I probably would have. I would have. Oh, it would have been really hard. I don't know. I can't promise you I wouldn't have.
But she was smart, though. She knew that the readers, you can't bring us all this way.
Yeah.
And not give it to us.
Yeah, right. Now we're in chapter 25, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quick cut. And we find out that Poppy has her dream job. She's traveling all over the world. She's traveled to Marrakesh, which is in Morocco, Casablanca, which is on my bucket list. She's been to Martinborough in New Zealand, Queenstown in New Zealand, like Santiago. She's all over the place. And she gets to travel, which is amazing. And she she's pitched a trip for the magazine she now works, Rest and Relaxation, to go to Norway and Sweden. Mm-hmm. And thanks to, remember our girl Lita, whose wife is in Norway
I think it's
or something like
Norway.
that?
Yeah.
One of them. She hits her up and she gives her a list of like all the places that they have to try. They're gonna stay in an ice hotel. It's all gonna be paid for by the company. She can't wait to bring Alex and spoil him, and she's super, super, super excited. Which quick thing I want to dive into. What's your number one bucket list travel place?
I mean, I really, really, really want to go to Greece more than anything. You've been, haven't you gone? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gone, but I mean, so many places like in the south of France or,
Mm,
just Europe in general. I'm just dying. But what about you? Is there
okay. This is gonna be the most me thing you've ever heard.
Florida?
I'm going to Florida. No, there's a spot in Finland, and it's a igloo. It's like a clear tent thing so that you can see the aurora borealis. Hmm.
I mean, a
I
dream
know.
or a dream.
I know, I know. I want to go so bad. I want to go so bad. I just want to sleep under the stars. I did that once. I was in Utah, I think, at this like kind of glamping situation, and
Yes.
there was the stargazer tent, so you could keep the thing above your bed open, and the stars were just unbelievable.
I see some really cool videos on that, and I'm just like, man, that would be so cool to witness that in real life.
Yeah.
How do you even process that, really?
I don't, it just, it's a reminder that we're just so small and
Okay.
insignificant, and the universe is so vast and beautiful. And I just, yeah, that's that or the pyramids in Egypt. Those are one and two for me.
Ooh, I feel like Ireland would be fantastic too.
Mm,
Oh, give me
hmm.
some of that castle life. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yes. Yes. So now what type of traveler are you? Are we like, we touched on this a little bit, obviously you're not big camper, but like, do you want to ball out, or do you want like a fiscally responsible, I already know, but for the listeners,
If I'm
what kind of
going,
travel girly are you?
if I'm doing the thing, I'm going in, baby.
Facts.
I'm going in,
Facts.
and I have no problem. My big thing with traveling, I love to see how locals live because I feel you get the true culture. I don't just love, even though there are things, the touristy things you want to see. I'm like, I want to get an idea of the pulse of the city. What's really
Mm.
going on? What do you guys do? And so I always will try and make friends or kind of ask around and then just see from there what goes on. But I'm not gonna lie, I really love to be comfortable.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong
And
with that.
I've said this from the first podcast. I'm very specific in my ways. And so I would prefer, if possible, to do like bougie on a budget.
Great. Love it.
Like I'm probably not someone who's going to go backpack. That's just never been me. But I also have my makeup and 100 outfit choices in my bag, so that's
Yeah.
probably not going to work for
Good
me.
option.
But
Copy.
that's kind of my vibe. What about you? Where are you at? Where do you find
Um,
yourself?
I find myself if I sorry, we wanted to make sure we are the same height, but I'm sitting on my foot.
Your feet hurt.
So I have to keep switching because I fear going numb. If I am taking my dad and brother traveling with me, I like to spoil the crap out of them. If it's me, I'm less concerned, but I that's the Taurus in me. We love a little bit of opulence, right? Luxury.
Right? Okay. That's
So I don't really spend money on things. I spend money on experiences. So I don't get my dad and brother like Christmas presents, but I will take them to a Broncos game and we'll get front row seats in the half court, half stadium, half field. Um, so I'm more likely to drop a bunch of money on travel, on experiences, on a concert, on something like that. So yeah, I'm definitely
I'm totally the same way. Even when it comes to like bags or shoes or this or that. Sure, it's cool to have nice pieces, but I want to take that money and I want to go out and
yeah,
try,
yeah,
a new restaurant or a little vacation or a beach town or whatever it is that you're doing. But give me the experience. I need
100%,
to live, baby.
100%.
That brings us though to the fact that they were going to go to Norway and Sweden, and then
Yep.
Poppy gets so sick. She is so ill that she goes to her boss Swapna and she's like, "I'm so sorry." She was so
She's
apologetic.
pneumonia.
Yeah, pneumonia,
Yeah.
and she was so ill. And Swapna has said to her, like, "Girl, it's okay. Don't apologize. This happens." But since the trip is not going to be refundable, have your
Right.
friend go and enjoy it. And so Poppy goes, please, Alex, go enjoy it. And she thinks he's going to go on this trip. And then, like, a few days into her not being able to even get out of her bed because she is so sick, she gets a knock at her door and she gets all these missed calls. Who do you think was at the door, Miss
It was my
Molly?
favorite when he showed up out of no. I think it was just one day. Like he very clearly was like, I'm getting on that plane and then I'm not getting to the next plane that's supposed to take me to Norway. I'm gonna go to New York City. But I just wanted to right before she gets really sick, she says, I can't wait to see you. And Alex says, I know, it's all I can think about. And Poppy says, it's all I can think about too. And she's up all night thinking about it. And so I just wanted to do a quick little diatribe on the psychology of falling in love. This is
Ooh.
super, super interesting, right? So when we fall in love, we have three chemicals that release in our brains. We have, Lord, please forgive me, noradrenaline, which stimulates adrenaline, right? Like the racing heart feeling. We have dopamine, which is the feel good chemical. And we have phenylethylamine, which is the chemical that gives us butterflies. And so that's why when you fall in love with somebody, or like when you're starting something, you don't feel like you need to eat, you don't need to eat, or sorry, you don't need to eat, you don't need to sleep. You feel so excited. Everything is like new and exciting. And that's because your brain is releasing these chemicals. What that also means, though, is that if it's a toxic relationship, you shouldn't be in it, it is just as hard to dismember yourself from it because you are chemically addicted now, which is fascinating.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know, a long time ago, I read, you know how they say the 7-year itch, and that's when people cheat? You know,
Mm.
essentially, apparently your body, when you've been with someone for 7 years, it sends off different chemicals. Like the ones that used to make you a certain way, you kind of don't feel that way anymore.
Huh.
Obviously, not all the time, but it's something that I
Sure.
read that makes people, why it's so common that the 7-year itch even came to be, because that's kind
Yeah.
of the time when someone might go, oh, I'm not feeling that. Let me see if I can
Yeah.
get that elsewhere. I'm like, no, maybe just build your relationship and be in love. But I digress.
Relationships take work, right? So you got to really double down and invest in it because the chemicals aren't going to be there anymore. So now you
Sure.
have to make the conscious effort to stay in love with somebody. I think love is a choice.
Absolutely. You got to choose that
Yeah.
person every single day. And
Yeah.
what was so wild, and I'm so happy the author showed this, when you're sick, you're at your most vulnerable, right? Like you
Mm.
really don't feel well. You're truly your true self. And even in this chapter, there was intense cuddling. She thought she might have said, I love you, because he goes, oh, it's just the fever talking. And
These two, I'm not whiling when I have a fever either. I'm not whiling on muscle relaxants, and I'm not whiling. I'm whiling in if I've had a martini.
yes, right. That's when it all comes out. Not muscle relaxants or a dang
Yeah.
fever, but
Yes.
to each his own, you know?
Sure. Sure.
And
Excuses.
so he shows up. She's so happy that he's there. He takes care of her, you know, for that time, and he helps her shower because she literally like thought she peed her bed because she hadn't moved. She
I think
was,
she did, didn't she?
yeah, yeah. And he went in and he
Rich
changed her
girl. How sick
sheets.
are we? My goodness.
Right, right. Not great, not
Yeah.
great. And so he goes,
And he didn't
changes her
care.
sheets. No, no. And he was so
Yeah.
respectful when she showered. He kind of like turned away and he's like, should I stay in here? Like,
Yeah.
do you want me
In
to
case she
leave?
like passes out or something, he didn't
Of
want her to like fall or
course, of course.
he's just a gentleman.
Yeah. And he took care of her. And in that moment, even more, she knew she was in love. And
Hmm.
didn't he leave, however, and it took a few days? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't
He
talk for
left
4 days.
and it took a few days for her to get a text. And she got one that literally said it was a photo of his tiny black cat. Good callback. Sitting on an open copy of Wise Blood by Flannery O'Connor. Fate, he writes. Because he couldn't name her. He kept saying, I'll find her name when it makes sense. Like, I feel like you can't name a being until you get to know them, which I
Right.
definitely feel that way. I've always thought,
Sure.
you know, like having a kid, I would need to hang around it for a little
Really?
while.
So you don't have a name picked out. If you do want to have kids, you guys don't have a name picked out.
I have one that I really like, but I feel like I'd need to see, and it's only one name.
Got
But
you.
I just don't know. I don't know if in that
Yeah.
moment. And I also too feel like I'd be kind of open to waiting to see the
Yeah.
sex until like the time it comes out. I don't know though.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know.
Ooh.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see if it
Okay.
happens. But have you ever thought of that? Is that
Oh yeah,
something
I
you
have
got
the
your
name written out.
list? You're ready.
Yeah,
I'm sure Poppy knows her names that she has
for
because
sure. She's a
she's
hopeless romantic.
she's
That's
ready
pretty.
to go.
Although, you know what? She's pretty clear. Like, I don't even know if I want to settle down ever.
Yeah.
Alex, you know, we're just too different. He wants the white picket fence and he wants the family and the kids and all that stuff. And she's like, I like to travel. I don't know if I even believe in monogamy. You know, she just is like, um, trying to pin wind to a wall, which is what my mom said. I was like,
Mm.
good luck to anybody who takes it. Like, come here, come here.
Yes, yes. No, and I feel too she really was thinking, well, maybe I just will never be the kind of girl that he's going to want.
Yeah.
And God, what a tough realization. And not even a realization for her to have, but she doesn't even know if that's true. She's making that
Mm.
decision up for him. He never said that.
Right. Well, and we know that because we don't have his point of view.
Emily.
Which I'm assuming anybody that is watching this right now is the most devout reader, so you know what we mean by
Yes,
point of view. But if
yes.
for some reason you don't, there are a lot of books that have multiple character point of views so that you can get a little slice of how everybody
Yep.
feels.
Yep. And then so chapter 26, we go back to current day this summer. My notes literally start off with, I mean,
Correct. Correct. Mine are, and they're kissing in all caps. Amazing. Amazing. It only took us 26 chapters, but we're here.
they
We're doing
finally
it.
give into their feelings in the kiss. And he draws back from the kiss and he's like, is this okay? And Poppy says if she could kiss, she'd tell him it was the best kiss she's ever had in her entire life. She says she wishes she could say that to him.
Yeah.
And then one of his hands twists into the hem of her t-shirt where it hangs against her thigh, and the other grazes up her stomach beneath it. What about this? He asked.
I was waiting for the
Yes,
voice.
she breathes, and his hands lift higher, slips under her bathing suit top, making her shiver. This okay? He says.
So hot. So hot. Come on.
I go, oh
So
my
hot.
fucking God.
So asking permission, even though you know, so hot. Stupid hot.
Yes, after all of that time, he's just like making sure you good, you good, you good. And
Yeah.
she's so down bad for this guy, like ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
And he says to her this about, twist in my heart. I think about you all the time. I think about this.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, so you've been thinking about her and being with her romantically, which,
and now we know. Yeah.
yep. And then Poppy says that she's off of birth control, and he goes,
I love this.
that's okay.
I wish more men did this, by the way. I wish more men did this, by the way, because it is making sure that the woman doesn't have to be the only one that is responsible for wrecking her body with birth control. He gets a vasectomy. He has had a vasectomy, which is totally reversible. Not that big of a deal.
Right. And he literally said to her, I got one, just in case I didn't want to get anyone pregnant unplanned. And I'm like, that is so Alex of him.
God bless. God bless.
And then he says he's not sleeping with anybody else, for that part of the conversation. And she's like, instead of saying me neither, she goes, it's just us. Like, and he knew exactly what she meant by that. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, my heart.
I know.
And then she says, stop making me wait for you. And he responds, stop being impatient. I've waited 12 years. I want this to last. Like he's in this.
I love it so much.
He's in this for the long haul. And that
12 years. So he's wanted this forever. We knew it.
we called it.
Guys don't kick it with girls unless they're into them. I'm sorry.
That
Maybe there's a
freaking
few. I
part.
can think of maybe a few, but so that's not a fair. I can't. It's not everybody, but it's a good amount of them.
Of course. Now, I'm curious, how long do you think Alex felt this way? Was there a defining moment for you that you can look back and go, wow, I think this is when he had his aha moment of I love her, how she had it with him?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tough.
I think him hanging out with her and going on trips with her is a pretty good indicator that he was at least
Right?
into it in some capacity.
I feel like when we went way, way back to them in college and that one night when they were in the room together, and remember they stayed in his room. She slept on his roommate's bed,
Yes, yes,
but they
all night.
talked all night long. And I feel like that was the first moment that he maybe kind of started crushing, but he's like, I'm not going to say anything,
For
because
sure.
you know how
For sure.
that goes. But oh God, I wish I could know. Emily Henry, let us know, please.
Yes, give us Alex's point of view.
And then chapter 27, the big bad chapter, I was like, did you read it? And it was like 2 pages long.
They want to go again,
Yes, they're, yeah,
and
naturally.
now Nikolai finally shows up
Now
to fix AC.
Nikolai is the guy who owns this apartment. He's been ignoring Poppy's calls nonstop, and he
Right.
finally shows up and goes, oh, it is broken. Here's your money back. And they decide that they want to go get a hotel. And then they get a little gift from the hubby and wifey that was left outside. They didn't even
So
know their
cute.
names. And they're
So
like,
cute.
here, use this. Like, you guys will enjoy it. So I'm wondering if they'll use the spa certificate,
Well, it's $100 gift card. In
right?
this economy, I'm not going to get you very far.
You get one hair wash. And that's it.
You get a 15-minute massage. Enjoy for only one of you. Have fun.
I know, so true. And then it kind of just ended. It was a pretty quick chapter, and I wanted to continue, but I did not. And
Very
I
good.
feel like now we're going to be kind of going into the wedding,
Yeah.
which I think Sarah's going to be there.
I think so
feel it.
too. I think so
feel
too.
it. And
I think she's coming.
now, what chapters are we reading next week?
So
know you have
next
that.
week we are reading 28 through the epilogue.
Okay. Oh my God,
Yeah.
this is it.
I
This
know.
is
This
it.
is
We
it. So
did
that's
it.
28 to 36,
Okay,
and then the little
perfect.
epilogue.
Perfect. So we'll be sure that we read all of that. If you haven't, catch up. We're having so much fun here. And it's so funny. We started and I was like, yeah, I've got a dentist appointment. We got to roll through it. And I'm 2 minutes late.
Cool.
So
You
thanks
get
for
your
listening,
dentist
everyone.
appointment.
We love you. We appreciate you.
Yes, we had
And
so
we'll
much fun.
See you next week.